Hi, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com. I know it's kind of late. It's very early on Monday morning, but I wanted to bring a report on the Sunday scoreboard for South Carolina College baseball, of course, including the finale of the Clemson-South Carolina series. Clemson won that game 8-2. They broke open a tight game in the eighth inning with 3 runs on a Colin Priest homer. They had 4 runs in the ninth and wound up winning 8-2. They won the series 3 games to none. Tigers are now 10-1. They've won 8 straight games. South Carolina fell to 9-3, and they've lost 3 straight these games to Clemson. We'll go over the rest of the Sunday scores, and then I'll come back to talk a little bit about the Clemson-Carolina game and the series itself. Anderson completed a sweep of Davis and Elkins with a 13-3 win. Bellarmine salvaged the final game of its series at Charleston Southern, 10-5. The Buccaneers are still on their best start ever in school program history. Coastal Carolina beat Rutgers to complete a series sweep there, 6-1. Creighton won the series finale against College of Charleston, 8-4, so they won that series 2-1. Flagler ended Lander's 10-game winning streak. Lander fell 6-5 in 10 innings in that game, but they still won the Peach Belt Conference Series 2 games to 1. Florence Darlington Tech won 2 out of 3 over USC Lancaster this week, including a 15-5 win today. Lancaster had a 5-0 lead, and the Stingers scored the final 15 runs of the game to take the series. Francis Marion won a series over Young Harris in Conference Carolinas, 11-7 for the Patriots. Gaston College won over USC Sumter 2-1 in a Region 10 game. The Fire Ants were up 1-0 going to the 8th inning, but the Rhinos scored single runs in the 8th and the 9th to win it 2-1. Georgia Southwestern kept USC Beaufort on the losing streak. They've lost every game this week. I believe they've lost 5 straight overall. Score was 4-0 today. Lane doubled up on Benedict 12-6. They won that series 2-1. Presbyterian salvaged a series split with Eastern Michigan with a 10-9 win today. They got 2 runs in the 9th, the tying run on a sacrifice fly, and the winning run on a wild pitch. Spartanburg Methodist completed a sweep of Morris. They won today's game 9-5. They're in the Continental Athletic Conference, so it was a conference series. The Pioneers have really been struggling, and they got a little bit healthy this weekend against Morris, which is even struggling worse than Spartanburg Methodist has been. The Citadel beat Yale 6-2 to complete a series sweep there. They've won 4 straight. USC Union completed a series sweep of USC Salkehatchie, 11-1 in 5 innings. And the Bantams are alone atop the Region 10 standings after 2 weeks of play. USC Upstate won a series over UMass Lowell, taking today's game 12-4. Voorhees put up 26 runs and beat Tougaloo 23-5 to win that series 2-1. Winthrop beat Wagner 10-2, and they swept that series. And Wofford completed a sweep of Lemoyne 11-8. And the Terriers are now 10-1. Don't have it right in front of me. I believe they've won 8 straight. Now, going back to that Clemson-Carolina series, as I mentioned. When I previewed the series, I mentioned 3 keys for each team. For Clemson, I said they needed to get Cam Canarella involved in the offense. Well, they did. He was 4 for 11. He had a double. He scored 4 runs. He drove in 3 runs. And he got a couple of rallies going, really got things going for him. Well, really helped out in all 3 games. On Friday night, he had that 2-out bunt hit in the first inning against the USC Shift, and Clemson went on to score, I believe it was 2 runs in that inning. They got him started. On Saturday, over at Fluor Field, you remember the game where they were up 1-0 and got a ground out to throw to the first baseman, and Canarella never stopped as he rounded third coming in from second base, and he scored. Hustle play, did well for him. And then Sunday night, he had a big hit to help Clemson break the game open late. So I think he did. That was the key, and they did do it. Second key I had is Clemson's base stealing. Well, they didn't have to steal a whole lot of bases because they didn't get on base a lot of times, but they were still adequate for winning. They had 3 stolen bases, but multiple times they would take extra bases on a hit to the outfield, things like that. So they really accomplished that too. And the third key I had for Clemson was to keep USC in the ballpark. Carolina only hit 1 home run. That was Ethan Petrie's solo home run on Saturday at Fluor Field. So of the three things, I think Clemson did indeed do all three keys that I said they needed to do to win. Well, how about South Carolina? I had three keys for them. The first key I said is they needed to get Talmadge Leroy back in the offense. Friday night, they did. He was 2 for 4. He had 2 RBIs, and so he helped him come back and make that game close. But on Saturday, he was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, and then Sunday night he did not play, and so Carolina did not accomplish that key. Key number 2, the USC pitchers needed to throw strikes. Well, they did and they didn't. They struck out 37 batters in 28 innings. In 26 innings, 37 batters in 26 innings. But they walked 17. They hit 4 batters. So, they did throw strikes. They got strikeouts, but they didn't throw strikes enough, and that opened up opportunities for Clemson. The third thing I said was to see how Carolina's offense did against better pitching. Well, I think you see what they did against better pitching. They hit 160 for the weekend. They had 15 hits and 94 at-bats, 5 hits each of the 3 games. And so they were not up to speed. They could not match up to Clemson's pitching. So they failed on that one too. A few other numbers from there. Now, Carolina's pitchers were really well, especially the starters. But they had some trouble in the bullpen late as they're doing it. But Clemson only hit 229 against Carolina. That's, if you just looked at those numbers and said Clemson hit 229, you say, well, hey, Carolina probably won a game or two. But no, they didn't win any because of Carolina hitting only 160. Clemson's pitchers had a staff ERA for the weekend of 1.67. Hey, these days in college baseball, if you've got an ERA under 4, you're doing a pretty good job. So Clemson pitchers did an excellent job for the weekend. What was South Carolina's ERA? 5.88. That's not no es bueno. So you can. It's easy to look at the numbers and see why Clemson won all 3 games. They were superior in just about every category. Now Carolina did get some great starting pitching. They struck out 37 batters in 26 innings, as I mentioned. Jake McCoy was just phenomenal until he got a little bit tired there in the 6th inning. I believe he gave up a run on Saturday. And I think that even with the problems that Carolina had, I believe they can be encouraged about their starting pitching. I believe it's better than they may have suspected it was going to be before the season. Now they lost Eli Jersenbeck. They were counting on him to be healthy and to be able to contribute, but he's gone for the year. Dylan Eskew, now there were some concerns about him with his back because he did not start on Friday like he normally would have. He came back and started Sunday, and he had a few control problems. He gave up 1 run, but really overall he pitched pretty good. He battled back, got out of some jams to keep Carolina in the game for much of the game. So again, I think a bad weekend for Carolina, but the fact they got good pitching I think is going to help. But their concern, it's going to be an ongoing concern. I mentioned it, they didn't really do all that well against most of their early teams until a couple games against Milwaukee and then Gardner-Webb in midweek. But Carolina's going to have to start hitting the ball better if they're going to do anything. You can't expect a pitcher to go out there and be perfect. There are going to be times when the pitcher's not going to be able to do exactly what he needs to do, and the offense has got to pick him up. So far, the USC offense isn't doing that on a consistent basis. Looking back over at Clemson, hey, I think Coach Eric Bakich has got to feel pretty good about where his guys are right now. They probably wanted to hit a little bit better, but they were facing some pretty good pitching, probably the best pitching they'd faced since the first weekend of the season. I'm sure he didn't like the fact they struck out so many times, but they battled. They drew some walks. They got on base. They took the extra base when they got on base and got the opportunity. And, I think it's shaping up as a really good year for Clemson, especially if everybody can stay healthy and they can continue to keep Cam Canarella involved in the offense. And I'm sure he will be. There are no games on the varsity level of college baseball on Monday. There's one junior varsity game, Columbia International, and I believe it is Erskine. But check PalmettoStateBaseball.com. I provide coverage every day. I'll do a podcast on Mondays that I'll dump the link to that later on. But I hope that you enjoy these video recaps, the video scoreboards, and other things I do, please let me know. Email me at rudyjones@palmettostatebaseball.com. Message me on X. My handle is Palmetto Base. And I just want to try to help promote the game of college baseball on all levels. Thanks for listening and watching. Hope you have a great day and a great week. This is Rudy Jones saying good night.